What is goody, everybody? It is full-time trip. We're back in the building. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1 at the Emirates Stadium. 3 points in the bag in another London clash with that bus stop in Fulham. And boy, did we get the job done. Again, another day to test the nerves, test the nervous system, my cardiovascular. Again, some of my endocrine. I don't know, right? They was testing a lot of systems in my life. I'll just say that for a fact. But we got over the line. The biggest thing, the 3 points is in the bag, restoring a little bit of distance, albeit the extra game between us and Man City. But a good day in the office considering the result that was needed. Maximum points, we move. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hope y'all doing well, boy. I hope y'all doing well, baby. We got to sit down and talk about this game real quick. Don't want to, talk your ears off for too long, but there are some veggies to this conversation, and there's some, fruits and dessert to this conversation. I don't know how I want to start. I'll do the veggies first. First, let me just talk about the rundown of goals. Again, 21st minute set piece coming through. Again, Gabriel does incredibly well to manage that ball at the back post, steer it back in. William Saliba's there to head it off towards the goal. I think it hits off a Chelsea player's shoulder. I can't remember who it was exactly, but it bundles in the back of the net from there, and we're 1-0 up. Wonderful celebration. Hey, that little Sally was crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I like that. You got a little timidness to you, brother. I like it. At the end of the first half, getting caught in a little bit of jeopardy there. Unfortunate flick off of the back of Piero and Hincapie's head after a really good half from him. But again, own goal goes into the back of the net, and then it's 1-1. Then at 66 minutes, Jurrien Timber finds himself in a perfect place at the perfect time from a Declan Rice cross to nod the ball in the back of the net past Robert Sanchez. Red card at 70 minutes from Pedro Neto, thinking that he was a road runner against the real road runner. You should know what's going on. Doganelli gonna chase it down. And we see the rest of the game out. Not convincingly, but we did see the rest of the game out. Now, there's two sides to this story. Again, the veggies and the dessert. I'm going to focus on the veggies first, all right? Not going to taste the greatest, blah, 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 whatever. It's not going to be the easiest conversation, but there's two things that really stick out to me in this. One, being able to ruthlessly execute. This is where it gets a little bit complex for me, because I've talked before in other videos about Arsenal needing to impose their will, trying those things, moving with the belief that you can make those things happen to cause damage to opposition, And I think in some days like today, I think the intent was there, and I'll harp on that more in the dessert section, in the positive section. But where I take exception is not being ruthless enough, or as I guess just have enough conviction within yourself to see certain things and accurately, quickly, decisively make the right calls with them. How many situations that Chelsea had that went unpunished? How many times we won the ball high that resulted in no action, no shots put up? How many times that we're seeing one easy pass that we can make off of a Chelsea mistake alone, and we did not capitalize on that? That to me is still ridiculous, how they don't have the execution within them as a collective to say, I'm going to put my foot through this. We made advantage of the situation. I'm going to take advantage. You make an advantage, you take an advantage. And they just don't seem to know how to do that. They're still the most ethical team in the land. They're still the most ethical team in world football, because when a team makes a mistake, we'll let them get off. We'll let them have that. You get off free. That's fine. We'll try and beat you another way. We won't capitalize off the mistake that you made. Arsenal still fail to capitalize on an opponent's mistakes time and time and time again. And that has unfortunately been such a recurring theme over the past couple of seasons. Frustrating. It's utterly frustrating at how many times we see a situation, the structure and the goal of our press at many times is to win the ball high, see if we can again force a mistake, and we capitalize, but we never get the other half of that equation. We almost never get the other half of that equation right, and it just again continues to be frustrating. I know if I'm feeling it, I know they feel it. How many times again and again and again the press works, we're seeing it works, but then there's no end product. There's no fruit for the labor that we put in. Gotta work how to address being ruthless more and more often. We have to rectify that, man. We have to. I just think it's such a big imperative, bro, to not let situations be as tenuous as they were today. I don't think the overall performance was really that good today, considering how much we had the options, the moments, the chances to put them to the sword, but we just never could find our hands on the handle to swing through, right? The next thing about the veggies is, again, the execution off of our own efforts. Still, we remain one of the worst counterattacking or attacking or transition teams that I've seen, bro. Oh my gosh, I don't mean to call out individuals at this point in the video, but we can call a spade a spade. The biggest example of this with me was lying in Leandro Trossard's touches today. I just thought they were so loose. I thought he held the ball for way too long, or he didn't execute a pass properly if it was early enough. You know what I'm saying? Both instances. One where he went so early, like he had clear daylight and several runners to run down the pitch a little bit more, create a little bit of an option, you know, like, again, make Caicedo second guess when he's in the middle of the pitch. He could have carried at least another like 10 yards before he made a pass, but he executed way too early. And what he did with that early pass is send it right to Caicedo, put it right at his feet, with so many options wide, going right down straight down the line, and one on the opposite side. I can't remember who was there. It might have been Jurrien who was on the other side, but he decided to give it straight to Caicedo. Execution, the complete opposite of what it needed to be in that moment. And there was another transition moment where I think Trossard was running with the ball. He was carrying with the ball probably like 30 yards, to be real, all the way down to the opposition box, all the way to Chelsea's box. And along the way, he could have sent it to Jurrien early. He could have sent it to Rice, who was running alongside him in the central space. Saka was running alongside him on the right-hand side, but he waited and waited and waited and waited and waited until he came to a stop. And then he somehow threaded the ball through to Saka, and the chance was not really as quality as what we could have gotten in stride. And that's not just him, but those are two big examples that speak to that trend and that characteristic that I'm seeing, where in transition, we're not finding enough conviction to take things in stride. We're not finding enough of that, just the gusto to make things happen in step, in flow, in full rhythm, at higher speeds. And it kills me because we have so many opportunities to do that. I think Jurrien is probably one of the only people who knows how to keep it simple, direct, and try and make things happen in transition whenever he does get the ball, at least in my opinion. And I think sometimes the simplicity and the directness and the intent is much more welcome than the indecision that many Arsenal players have shown in those transition moments. So that's where I'm at. I want to see more decisiveness on the break, and I want to see more ruthlessness to capitalize on other teams' mistakes, because we'll make one and we'll be right in the shit. We'll be right in the shit again. Another example, Pedro Neto sent off at 70 minutes. We should have controlled that game. We should have dominated the rest of that game and saw it through, which leads into my other part of the veggies, but we didn't take advantage of that. And that leads into a whole nother problem where the game management at the end of the game. And me personally, you can call it what you want. I still think a lot of that onus, most of it, I'm going to say like 70%. I'll say like 70% is on the players to put their foot on the ball. One thing that I've been worried about in the past few stretches of the past few weeks and the past few stretches of the season going into the run-in, I said this on Wafflenomics. Shout out to my boy Jim. We just had a new episode drop as well. I'll try and throw a link up somewhere in the I button or whatever so y'all can go check it. Really funny ass episode, dope stuff. Make sure you go check out the podcast with me, with FNG, with Niran as well. Dope stuff. It was, again, really fun time. But to that point, he asked me about a Champions League tie, but who I prefer, Leverkusen or Atalanta. And I said Leverkusen. Thank goodness we got them, because in moments where we're getting pressed, in moments when the press is on, the technical level of the team has been a little bit in question, especially in times late game where you need to put your foot on the ball, you need to manage the game, passes by, again, death by 1,000 passes, and make something happen, slow the game down. I have not been as fond of our technical level in recent weeks, given those specific circumstances and context of the game. And I stand on that. I still stand on that. Not having Odegaard in to help put his foot on the ball in those certain situations and slow the game down, I think that did come in to help in a North London derby. Not having that, again, quality there. Not having, maybe, again, I think Saliba hopefully would be like more of that person, but he can only do so much. I think mainly it's the Odegaard thing where he knows how to put his foot on the ball. He knows how to slow the game down. He knows how to really set the tempo to slow things down when they need to be. His acceleration, that's another thing where like he's not as consistent with, but slowing down and putting control, exerting control. That is where we've been getting lost, and that's where we've dropped points in recent weeks, not knowing how to slow that game down when we have an advantage, not to properly I keep harping on putting your foot on the ball. It's really putting your foot on the ball. Some of the back passes from Zubamendi today was not putting your foot on the ball. You know, some of the touches from Declan Rice today, albeit he put in a shift, he was busting a gut, you know, trying to make things happen. But some of the touches, the back passes to be a corner, like really loose, not ones that are becoming of a team that wants to exert control. And we made it scary at the back end with that lack of control. And I know Arteta knows that, the players know that. And I think that's 70% on the players, their execution at the ground level, making things happen pass by pass. I think a small part of it, maybe like 5%, is the selection, you know, like not having Odegaard. You know, we could probably put the other 25 on Arteta in some way, but I don't think he had much of a decision in there. If Odegaard was healthy, he would have put him in there and whatnot. Would have had it, would have had a chance to slow the game down and do it that way. And I think another part of this puzzle is the fact that Gyökeres, as much as people want to rag on him and give him stick or whatever, he is an automatic heavy out of possession consideration for any opposition. Whatever he does, his physical presence, his running capability, his channel running capability rather, that poses a problem for opposition, and that creates a scenario where teams aren't as keen to press or as keen to move up as much, or they can camp in the box, they can camp a little bit higher up the lines, they can do a little bit more. And I think that still, people are saying Gyökeres had a really bad game, and I'm like, I just don't think that's true. I think he fizzled out over time, trying to make runs and he just got tired or whatever, but I thought he had a decent game, and I'll get back on that in a little bit. But to that point, it's about exerting proper control, and the lack of capitalizing on mistakes, the lack of execution on the tightness of touches, and actually really and truly having conviction with certain things, especially in transition, and those points where you're not managing games as well as we were. We're not managing games as well as we were. I think those are things that I can find as just huge detractors in that performance. I'm hoping that the team is very aware of them, and we can find our ways to get our foots on the ball, whether it be more proactive substitution, getting Norgard minutes in, which I appreciate. It didn't help that much in the grand scheme of controlling the game, but rotation that could help and bode well against lesser opposition. Cool. But I hope that's a talking point for the team to say, hey, we need to find our way to put our foot on the ball and not let them get anything. We can't sit here and just rely on the margins. Again, we can't rely on the margins of how we defended, because anything can happen, and we've seen that before. We've dropped points this season from relying on those margins. Arsenal aren't a lucky team. I'll be honest with you, we're not a lucky team. Everybody can have a lucky moment in football, but Arsenal are not a lucky team, and that just speaks to me and says we have to do everything we can to fight beyond the margin, push as hard as we can, and not rely on those. That's where I'm at. Now, really quickly, the veggies is done. Sorry, not the veggies, the desserts. Now, what I really did enjoy about this game is, again, there's certain individual performances that I gotta big up, but from a team perspective, that first half was very good in terms of, it feels like the distrust or the lack of invention seems to be slowly dissipating. That first half felt very like it felt like there was much better flow to it between the pods of people passing across central spaces, trying to make things happen in different ways, the ingenuity, just having no fear in certain areas of the pitch and not trying to consistently horseshoe all the time and just rest on margins. Again, a lot of the play I saw from passing into Hincapie charging up the pitch through central areas, Eze finding good touches in central spots and trying to go combine here and there, getting the ball out to Gyökeres quickly, Gyökeres dropping deeper to receive the ball, link up, drag a defender wide, and create situations where there's space in behind and people can operate in those. I saw a lot of really, really, really good things and endearing signs in terms of how we're opening up teams, how we're imposing our will to make things happen and be a bit more inventive and purposeful and have more intention in opening up and getting to that final third. That felt much, much better. I loved the intent. Outside of Chelsea's, again, outside of the final action, really, it was very much intent. There was very much, again, I saw purpose. I saw a lot of that build up and shine through, especially in that first half. That was wonderful. That was a huge positive sign that the team is aware, they've understood, and now they're making the right strides to make those things happen. And again, that's where we want to be. We want to be in a position to, again, get the most out of these points of advantage, get the most out of the territory we win. We know this team is capable of carving teams up, anybody up on our day. Absolutely. And now we have to be in the position to try that more often, to try the things that'll open them up, have the propensity to do more, because this team absolutely can on an individual level and a collective level. So I was loving that. I was absolutely loving that, man. A lot of great attacks and things spawned up. And now the other half of that coin is, again, just making sure the final action is crisp. But I was really enjoying a lot of the different passages of play. Loved it. And again, it's just about tidying up in both boxes to make sure that we're maximizing the most of that play in between. So there's that. Set piece FC, I'm always be happy about that, baby. I don't care how we win. I don't care what it looks like, bro. I'm telling you, we could have got a goal off of Robert Sanchez looking at a streaker for 2 seconds. I don't give a damn. But the goal's going in. Absolutely good stuff. And again, really good to see a few individuals again really get the most of that. Saliba's first goal in like a year and change. Like it's been a little bit, to be sure. But it was good to see him there, and also loved his performance. Just being brave, again, just being very brave on the ball. I think he was really solid. Pressing up to make sure Cole Palmer was anonymous, I think, was huge in a lot of different ways. He sprang up and made sure Cole Palmer didn't have space to run. He didn't have those moments to try and amble up the pitch and really, again, make something. He didn't have daylight. He didn't have too much daylight to operate. I think a lot of that was down to when there was gaps. Saliba found a way to hold him down. Saliba found a way to push him back, to make him think twice. And I thought his tracking defensively was very good. Jurrien Timber needed that week's rest. He needed that week's rest, man. He looked a lot sharper today in the attack, obviously being on the score sheet, in dueling, in his passing. He looked much sharper. I think the interplay between him and Saka was very much on point. And again, credit to him getting that rest that I think he very much needed. Was much better from him today. Much better. Again, I said my piece about Victor Gyökeres. I thought he was, I thought he was decent. I don't think he was better than the goal scorers or another player that I mentioned who's my man of the match. But I thought he was decent. The first half, especially when he had the chance to, again, drop deep, connect play, link up, give these one-touch passes here and there, run into the channel, found some good touches, and was trying to make things happen. I was enjoying that. Unfortunately, no shots on target, and I need him to do better in that department, honestly. Not the greatest performance, but I thought it was something that was good for how we were approaching the team play, playing more open, playing with more intent to, again, drive through the heart of teams and find different solutions to consistently chip away at defenses. And I thought it was good. I thought it was a decent performance from him. Bukayo Saka a little bit subdued. I didn't think he was the greatest. Some touches were loose as well. And I didn't think it was the craziest of games from him either. Hincapie, I thought, outside of the own goal, I thought he was really good. Again, I thought he was really good. Tracked his man, did everything he needed to do very well. And again, the forward movements, the forward actions into central spaces, driving with the ball, again, making the pass that he needed to. I thought those were very good. Crossing to try and make dangerous plays happen. I think we're seeing more and more of that forward play, like I said in the last video, recapping the North London derby. And that's a really welcome sight to see. A different profile from Calafiori, but something that's all welcome all the same, to be very real. I'm gonna get right to it though. Man of the match is David Raya for me. I could have easily given it to Saliba for his goal and overall great performance. I could flip back on another day, but David Raya for me. The vital saves at the end. Oh my goodness, excuse me. The vital saves at the end, and the absolute just wonderful job he's been doing in goal, man. Again, people people give him a lot of flack for not being 6'5". People give him a lot of flack for not being Joan Garcia's physical size and stature, but what he does in awareness, what he does in speed, what he has in distribution, what he has in cross claiming so many times, I think he is an absolutely phenomenal keeper. He's a phenomenal keeper on his day, on days like today, outside the own goal, which nobody could have foreseen, is what it is. Outside of that, he was playing like he was damn near 6'8", 7'2", Taco Fall, Wembanyama type vibes, man. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, those contributions kept us winning in the game. They kept us ahead in the game. And you can't discredit him for that, bro. A huge, vital piece of this team. And you got to respect the line of David Raya. You got to respect the line of it, man. But overall, did what we had to do. Good, good subs. I thought they all came at decent times. Gabriel Martinelli did some good work as well. Shout out to him. But our man of the match is definitely David Raya. Again, credit to Mikel Arteta. I thought the game plan was very good. I thought subs were decent. Again, it was just up to the team to execute beyond that point. So I don't think there was too much craziness on his end, in my opinion. But we move, man. A tough game in the midweek, in my opinion, at the Amex against Brighton. They've been in form lately. Welbeck scoring. They've been putting teams into the fire a little bit here. We're gonna have to again do it again to really make the most of it. Get 3 points against Steven Seagal FC. We're gonna see what's happening with that. But with that being said, let me know what you thought of the game in the comment section below. Your favorite goal, performance, the manager, the players, all that good stuff, the run in, everything. Let me know in the comment section below. And with that being said, my name is Full-Time Trip. I'm hungry, but it's all right. I'm gonna get some food later. That's all the time that I got. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, London is always red. That bus stop in Fulham, they are always our dogs. It's always nice giving them a walk in the park. But I'll see y'all next time, man. COYG. Peace.